Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and good morning to my students all over the world. And you know that we are doing this book. And from point to the line segment, to the angles, to the parallel lines with the transversal and triangles. We have covered all these things. And we are at the chapter number 3, lines, angles and shapes. So, my dear students, we have reached now to the quadrilaterals. We have, as I said, that we from point to line segment to angle, and then parallel lines with transversal triangles, and covering all these shapes and lines, etc. We have come to now to the quadrilaterals. Now you see the name applies quadrilaterals. Now quadrilateral means a four-sided figure. Now dear students, quadrilateral means a four-sided figures with four interior angles. Now it is recognized by its property because there are so many quadrilaterals in use that we have categorized with respect to their properties. Now first of all, what we'll do, I'll categorize them into the types with respect to their properties. These are classified with respect to their properties. The first one is parallelogram. Now parallelogram is like this. Now my dear students, I have drawn a figure. Now this is a parallelogram as it is written, and the name implies that now this parallelogram, due to its extraordinary length, it is also written like this: two parallel lines, 10 gram. Okay, if you want to write this, okay, no problem. If you want to write this, okay, no problem. Now there are certain properties in this parallelogram that this line, these two lines are, or these two sides are not only equal but are also parallel. These two sides are parallel, as you see that this sign indicates that these are parallel lines, and this small short line all indicate that these are equal in length. So we can say that the opposite sides of the parallelogram, let me say that AB is equal to CD, and AB is also parallel to CD, Similarly, you can see that there are two signs which indicates that these are again the parallel lines. So AD is also parallel to BC, and it is not only parallel but it is also equal to this side. The opposite sides are again equal. That means the definition of the parallelogram is that the opposite sides are not only equal but also parallel. These are the opposite sides and these are the opposite sides. These are equal and parallel. These are equal and parallel is equal to CB, and also AD is parallel to CB. Now, two properties, we have come to know about the two properties over here. Now, The third property is that AB is not equal to CD in general cases, but there is still one parallelogram in which two diagonals are equal. Two diagonals are equal in only one parallelogram, and that is which we'll call later on rectangle, because rectangle is the only parallelogram in which two uh, uh, rectangular is the only figure in which two diagonals are equal, or you can say even square is a parallelogram, uh, is a kind of parallelogram in which two diagonals are equal. Now these two diagonals cut each other at one point. They intersect each other at one point. This is A, C and B, D intersect at one point. Opposite sides are parallel and equal. Now, to be the précis of what I said is that two opposite sides are parallel and equal. Now, this side is parallel and equal, and this side is parallel and equal. The second is opposite angles are also equal. Now, this angle and this angle D, angle B is equal to angle D. Now these two opposite interior angles are also equal. Two interior opposite angles are also equal, and similarly angle A is equal to angle C. Angle A is equal to angle C. Now there are two properties. Now this is one property, this is second property, and the third property is that diagonal bisect each other. Now these diagonal bisect each other. Now what does bisect means? You don't know bisect. What does bisect mean? Bisect means that they divide the line into two equal parts. Bisect means that if this is a line AB, and if it is like 40 centimeters, and if we bisect it like this, now this will remain as 20 centimeters here and 20 centimeters here. So that means bisection means to divide a line into two equal parts. Now this part is equal, this part is equal, and similarly this part is equal to this part. This, let me say, is that AO is equal to OC and DO is equal to OB. That means that the line that they bisect each other at point O, and bisection means to intersect or to divide the line into two equal parts. Now I told you that these are the properties of parallelogram. Now we'll find some of these, all of these properties in our upcoming figure, and that is rectangular. Let's see how. Now dear students, I have drawn another figure for you, and it is called a rectangle. Now it has one additional properties other than the parallelogram, that all the four angles are right angle. All the four angles are right angle. The rest of the properties are the same. What were the properties? That this side is parallel and equal to this side. This side is parallel and equal to this side. You see that this is parallel and equal to this side. And this side is parallel and equal to this side. The same properties as I discussed in the parallelogram. Now the two are the same over here. Number one, now this side is parallel and equal to this side. This side is parallel and equal to this side. Now this diagonal is bisecting this diagonal. This diagonal is bisecting this diagonal. All the three properties are satisfying. All the three properties are satisfying the rectangular too. But the only difference is that though these are these angles, now these opposite angles are equal. Now you see that these opposite angles are equal, but these are not only equal but are right angles. As I told you that this is the only parallelogram in which the angles are 90 degree each. Angles are 90 degree each. Now this angle is 90 degree, this angle is 90 degree, this angle is 90 degree, and this angle is 90 degree, and each angle is a right angle. Now let me discuss in detail. All angles are 90 degree. Yes, okay. All angles are 90 degree. Let me write it. All angles are 90 degree. Now this is the first property. You can see that I told you when this sign appear, that means these are the 90 degree. Diagonals are equal. Now these diagonals are equal. Diagonals are equal. In the case of parallelogram, typical parallelogram, the diagonals were not equal because one was shorter and one was longer. You can see it over here. Now this is the shorter diagonal and this is the longer diagonal. Diagonal bisects each other. Now you see that these two diagonals are also bisecting each other. Diagonals bisect each other. Okay. Now the diagonals bisect each other. These is the. Now what can we say about rectangular and a parallelogram? We can say that every rectangular is a parallelogram, but every parallelogram is not a rectangle. Let me write this sentence over here, that every rectangle is a parallelogram, but every parallelogram is not a rectangle. So this is clear in this sentence that every rectangle is a parallelogram. Now this satisfies the all the properties of parallelogram, but this does not satisfy the properties of rectangular because the diagonals are not equal. And all the four angles within the rectangle are not 90 degree in this, but in this all the four interior angles are 90 degree each. So I think now you have understood what is a rectangle and what is a parallelogram. So far it is good for you now. Now dear students, my third figure or the third shape is sphere. Now this is a quadrilateral and its name is sphere. Why its name is sphere? Let me discuss now. Now you see that this side is equal to this side and this side is equal to this side and this side is equal to this side. What do I mean? That all the sides are equal. All the sides are equal. This is number one property. Number one property, all sides are equal and parallel to. All sides are equal and parallel. All sides are equal and parallel. Okay. Now this is parallel to this. This is parallel to this. All sides are equal. Let me opposite with this. Opposite sides are parallel. Are parallel. Opposite sides are parallel. Diagonals are equal in length. They bisect these angles. Now here again the bisect means that if the angle is 90°, then the bisection of each is 45°. Now here you can see that this is 90°, this is 90°, this is 90°, and again this is 90°. That means that the angle here left behind is 45° each in this case. Here 45, here 45, here 45, here 45. The total angle is 90°, and if we bisect the angle, it will become 45°. Now where they meet here, they make the angle 90°. Here. Now here it is 90°, here it is 90°, here it is 90°, and here it is again 90°. So you see that the sides are equal. Now you can draw this line also. All sides are equal, opposite sides are parallel, diagonals are equal. Diagonals are equal. Diagonals are equal. Number 3, they bisect the angles. Diagonals bisects the angles. Number 4, each interior angle is 90°. Each interior angle is 90°. So you see that this is again one kind of parallelogram, because it is also satisfying the conditions which were stated in the parallelogram. The opposite sides are equal. Okay, the opposite sides are equal. The diagonals are bisecting each other, and these are the opposite sides are also parallel to. So this is again one parallelogram, but due to its additional properties like these are this is 90°, and all sides are equal, we call it a square. We call it a square. Now we have differentiated 3 parallelograms with respect to their properties, and let me do it in like this, that this was a parallelogram, this was a rectangular, and this is a square. Now you see that all the 3 carries the same properties, but we have differentiated them due to their additional properties. Now this is a parallelogram, this is a rectangular, and this is a square. So due to their additional properties, unique properties. I think I have discussed a lot on these 3 um, shapes. Now let me proceed to the next shape. Now dear students, there is another which is called rhombus. Now what are its properties? Let me see that what are the properties exhibited by this rhombus. Now you can see that these two sides, it is with the naked eye, that these two sides are parallel and equal. These two sides are parallel and equal. Okay, let me draw it. These two sides are parallel and also equal. These two sides are parallel to and also equal. So far it is the properties which were exhibited in the parallelograms. The two diagonals bisect each other. Okay, this is again one property which was exhibited in the parallelogram. But again, there is one unique property again over here which differ it from the other quadrilaterals. And what is it? That it has equal sides. Now this side is equal to this side is equal to this side is equal to this. Now very easily I can put two lines over here because each of the side is equal. Each side is equal. These opposite angles are equal. The opposite angles are equal. Let me say it like this. If this is A, the whole angle is A. This is angle B. This whole angle. Whole angle is B. This whole angle is C. This whole angle is D. Then A is equal to B. Angle A is equal to angle B. Angle A is equal to angle B, and angle C is equal to angle C is equal to angle D. All the sides are equal. All sides are equal in length. In length, you can say it to be more specific. Opposite sides are parallel. The diagonals bisect each other. Diagonals bisect each other. Now there is one unique property over here again, that they bisect each other. That when the diagonal bisects each other, they bisect at 90 degree. So the diagonal bisect each other. To complete this sentence, we can say it at 90 degree each at point O. Okay. So these are the properties of the summary of the properties of rhombus. Now, my dear students, we have come to the end of the shapes, quadrilateral shapes. Quadrilateral, and our next is trapezium. What is it? Trapezium. Now it has very unique property that one of the two sides. Now there are two sides here and there are two sides here. Now the two sides, one of the two sides are parallel. Well, one of the two sides, not all the. Trapezium. So trapezium is a figure or a shape that the one of the two opposite sides are parallel. A pair of opposite angles, opposite sides are parallel. Now this trapezium exhibit only one property, that a pair of opposite sides are parallel. Now it could have been any shape. Now this is also a trapezium. This is also a trapezium because this is parallel to this is parallel to this, and similarly this is parallel to this. These all shapes are trapezium because a pair of opposite sides are parallel. Now the final of our is, you must have known this thing, it is kite, and some of my students are very fond of flying the kites. Now what are its unique properties? That this side is equal to this side. Now I can put 2 or 3 lines to indicate that these two adjacent sides, now these are the adjacent sides, the two adjacent sides are equal. Number one property, kite, two adjacent sides are equal. And similarly here, now this is equal to this. These are the two adjacent sides, and similarly these are the two adjacent sides. Very unique property, that only one pair of opposite angles are equal. Now here you can see that this angle is equal to this angle, but this angle is not equal to this angle. So one pair of the opposite angle, one pair of opposite angles are equal. Okay. Now the diagonals do not bisect each other, they intersect each other. Now follow my words, that they do not bisect each other, they intersect each other. And when they intersect each other, the angle formed between them is 90 degree. The angle formed between them is 90 degree. Okay, I'll write this property over here, that they intersect, the diagonals intersect. Now you will understand what is meant by the word intersect and bisect. Now intersect means that they cross each other, they meet each other, but they do not divide the line into equal parts. This intersection, now you see that they intersect each other. Now this length is lesser and this is larger. Similarly this may be equal. Now one diagonal intersect each other. And the other bisects each other. Now you see that this diagonal intersect each other. Now this is the shorter line. From here to here, this is the shorter line and this is the longer line. But whereas these two diagonals, these two parts are equal. If I write here AOB, now AO is equal to OB. That means that the intersect all at the diagonal, one diagonal also bisect each other. Okay, now these are the properties of the kite. So my dear students, I think you have understood the different types of the quadrilaterals, and what we have studied parallelogram, rectangular, square, rhombus, trapezium, and a kite. So there are 6 quadrilaterals in our course. So we have all studied them and we'll be doing worked example in our next session. So it's time to say you goodbye. Allah Hafiz.